modern warfare is the logical starting point for a global history of modern warfare, is to see how the regions must transformed by industrialization and massive nationalist mobilization affected the 19th and early 20th century world at large. By the mid-20th century, however, our analysis of modern warfare need to telescope out to a wider perspective that can make sense of seemingly infinite number and variety of conflict. The risk of industrial warfare create a break with the past and a new division among nations.
In 1750, the limited warfare was happened. This era was characterized by an unpopular military service. What does that mean? At the time, the armies relied upon professionals and mercenaries, not voluntary. The number of the troops were so small. That is actually the reason why the generals were reluctant to release their troops in a battlefield. In 1792, the French Revolution started. King Louis XVI was executed and became the mark of the French Revolution, and the Napoleonic era started as the transition from limited warfare to modern warfare. In Napoleonic era, the creation of a citizens' army raised by conscription started. The large-scale war production started, as well as ideological warfare and indoctrination. The purpose of ideological war became the complete overthrow of the enemy. The objective war became massive gains or even through annexation. In this era, the number of the troops were actually increased, started from 50,000 troops into 600,000 men. But actually, because of that, there was a difficulty of the food and supply. The troops were not allowed to bring their food and supply because it will slow them down. In order to survive, all of the troops, they took whatever they can find in the farmer's land. So that is why the guerrilla warfare used to happen. And also, the difficulty of strategy movement are also emerged because it was very hard for them to move in a small way with a great number. During the 19th century, warfare became the industrialization in two important senses. Modern technology was applied to the production of more sophisticated weaponry and proved immensely important for the future conduct of war. Weaponry, ammunition, and all of the material of war could now be mass-produced. And actually, the emergence of the railways became an aid for the troops to bring their food and supply, bring them to the hospital, and etc. The telegraph also emerged for supply and logistics, and also the government sought to mobilize their population to support war.
Naval warfare. Naval warfare went through an equally dramatic revolution during the 19th century. The Napoleonic Wars warships were made of wood and powered by the wind. As the century progressed, they were increasingly armored in metal, equipment with long-range rifled weapons, and most importantly, given engines that enabled them to operate independent of the wind. French that led the way in naval design the mid-19th century, with Britain being reluctant to encourage development that might challenge her supremacy at the sea. Rapid was the pace of technological development in warship in the last quarter of the century that ships were sometimes obsolete before they could be launched. In 1890, Alfred Mahan published The Influence of Sea Power on History on 1660 until 1783. The book became enormously widely read partly because the previous decades has seen such rapid change that naval officers were struggling to keep pace with implication.
Total warfare. Total warfare is one of a legacy of the French Revolution that brought that impact to the development of modern history. The discovery of ideas for total warfare start from the occurrence of the French Revolution where, by on the reign of King Louis XVI and her wife Maria Antoinette of French experience economy is falling inequity of the lifestyle of king and officials in their environment. To search for a way out of the economic crisis, 5 June 1789, Louis XVI invited États Généraux or the House of Representatives to solve the issues. But a meeting devoted to search solution in the dealing crisis was deep debate and opposition in determining sound. This led to the French Revolution. The main purpose of the French Revolution, this is the equation human rights over the people beyond or group social strata. The revolution have much impact on the sustainability of French government itself and to other countries both in social, politics, economy, understand nationalism, understand democracy, and the Union in the struggle says independence. Total warfare occurring in the French Revolution bring technological progress in strategy and weapons war in century 20, and innovation doctrinal chemical weapons, the weapons air power increasingly destroyed in World War II, and 3 tanks introduced in World War I. This war has soldiers, also aircraft carriers, submarines, armor, mechanical mobilization, especially total society, and after this war, air power is very important in World War II, and the development of blitzkrieg nuclear weapons and the end of total warfare.
The nuclear weapons became more popular in Cold War. Cold War became the end of the total war. In Cold War, the battle became more limited than the World War I and World War II. Before the Cold War, the nuclear weapons actually started in the World War II. The example was the destruction of the Japanese cities Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. The unleashing of the nuclear weapons is shared in an area of limited warfare. So the conclusion is, the evolution of modern warfare was actually happened from the Napoleon Bonaparte era until the Cold War. It was all because of the technologies. The technologies could also help the troops, also help the armies, but also can give a disadvantage for the citizens. The citizens started to become the target, the massive target from the warfare.